back to Open Your Eyes. It is International Day of the Girl Child, and we have some wonderful guests this morning. Joining us in studio, we have some high school students as well as some junior college students, ranging from the ages of about 15 to 17, and that is in the scope of the girl child. Well, technically
perhaps a little older,
13 to 17, right? And so we have with us Timaine Oatley, no stranger to Open Your Eyes. Hi, Timaine. Sana Roland, also no stranger to Open Your Eyes. Gia Chala and Omari Medina. We also have Cameron Vaccaro, Ashley Belgrave, and Raven Hernandez. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
And I know you're all here representing your various schools. So you have SJC-JC, we have Belize High School, and EP York High School. I want to start off with a very nuanced question. When we're talking about International Day of the Girl Child, how many of you knew that that was even a day to celebrate or to even recognize before today?
I knew about it from last year because my little sister's primary school recognized it as a day, and so that was the first time I heard about it though.
So in that case then, what did you think it meant?
I just think it meant recognizing girls under the age of 13. I mean under the age of 18, and you know how we grow and stuff like that, our experiences in our childhood.
Okay. So for you that went to do your little research, I know that we asked, and I'm sure Google is your friend. Being a woman, a young woman in your growing society, what does that mean for you? What are your experiences when you go out into the world in Belize and you have to represent a particular group of girls? What does that mean for you? Anybody can start.
Okay, so for me personally, like, it's an honor to be a woman, to be honest. Like, I'm just honored to literally be a woman simply because, like, we've faced so many challenges in the past and stuff like that. So it's like an honor to, like, break barriers and different challenges that we've faced for a long period of time. However, I think it's a challenge in a good way as well as a bad way, because it can be like a struggle, it can be like a battle every day. Like sometimes I'm fighting for my life at school because it's like when I bring across a point, I have a male challenging me and I'm like, can't you just see where I'm coming from? Like, yeah.
I agree with Sana. It's definitely an honor being a woman. Femininity is something like awesome, and I fully try to embrace my own femininity. But as she said, it is a challenge sometimes because sometimes our feminine energy can be taken for weakness, and I feel like that isn't fair, that isn't right, because you can still be considerate, you can still be emotionally intelligent, and still be capable.
Wow. Anybody else want to chime in?
I think I'm very proud to be a girl, to be a woman, and that's something I'm very I think I'm very blessed to be able to say, because there's a lot of girls around the world, even in Belize, that don't have the ability to say that. I love it because everything that I achieve, it just means so much more to me, because as a girl, I feel like we face more challenges than a guy would in any aspect that we're trying to go at. So whenever I achieve these things, I'm just already proud of myself as I achieved in general, but I get even more proud because I beat these challenges.
When we're talking about these challenges then, and I love that you're all saying I'm proud, but it sounds like there's a weight of the world on your shoulder. And you're trying to break these barriers, overcome these challenges. So when you say, I'm proud to be a girl, but I have all of these challenges, doesn't it kind of sound a little bit ironic in a way? That you have to deal with this, but also be happy about it? So, yeah, go ahead.
Would I be able then, perhaps as the only male in this panel, ask what are some of those challenges? Yeah. Let's begin there and perhaps put that into some context, because you are looking at perhaps academic challenges, financial challenges, social challenges in your respective communities and what have you. Perhaps you could begin by discussing that.
Yeah.
I would say one of the challenges that personally that I've experienced is the expectation, wanting to be able to achieve what other people expect of me. But thankfully, with the support of my father and my mother, that they've taught me that what you truly need to accomplish is your goals and your expectations of yourself.
Okay.
It's something that it takes time to learn, and it takes time to basically just understand yourself as a girl and understand that you do not have to live up to other people's expectations but your own.
Anybody else?
Similar to what Gia said, for me, as someone who is very interested in science, STEM, being in that field where a lot of it's mainly recognized to be a male-dominated field, I feel like it is something where I can grow, because with the support system that I have from my parents, it's a path where you take where it's very you don't focus on other people. You mainly focus on your own progress. So I think as a girl, it also means to be very comfortable in your own progress and what you can accomplish. So especially in a field like that where it can be very challenging to live up to the expectations, it can be a great learning experience.
But not only the expectations, it's also like leadership roles when it comes to trying to make something in life or do something that comes from yourself. A lot of the times where we get doubted, people are telling us, okay, you can't do that, or leave it to someone else to do that. We're not allowed to, most of the time we're not allowed to think for ourselves and like actually be the leaders of something. And even when we are put in those roles, it's that people doubt us. They doubt our capabilities, or we don't get the recognition that we deserve. And a lot of the times it's not only from people like older people or the male role, but also like the females as well. Like we have a lot of teenage girls bringing down other teenage girls or telling us how we're not, they're always picking on something from us. So like I can be a capable person, but then someone will find something about me, be like, oh, watch this one, as she have this and this and that. They'll always try to bring you down and make you feel less than. And because of that, it's important for us to have a security within ourselves and to have that stem from our families. But many of the times we don't have family members who support us.
Yeah. I like that you brought that up, because the theme for this year's International Day is invest in girls. Our leadership and our well-being. We talked about women in leadership roles, or lack thereof women in leadership roles. Do you all see any women empowered that you look up to and you're like, yes, this is something that I aspire to be, or yes, I can break these barriers to be in that position?
Me personally, I look up to my mother. She's very hardworking and always makes sure to reassure me that no matter what kind of troubles I'm having in school or stuff like that, that I will always try my best and make sure that I put my best foot forward, because even though sometimes school might be hard and stressful, you shouldn't let the troubles get in your way, and you should just do your best. And yeah.
What about the role of males in your lives? Perhaps as father figures, perhaps as siblings as well. Where are you guys with that in terms of either them being able to empower you as sisters or as daughters and what have you?
Do you think that that is the balance that you need then? That you have your lovely mother, you have your wonderful father, to assist a young girl in navigating this extremely strange world, right? So what are your thoughts on those that don't have that support?
And even if you do have figures in your life that guide you, representation shows you a different perspective.
Yes.
So that's why it's important for us women, or us girls, I'm a girl, to speak up, to show our capabilities, to show that we are more than enough.
Do you feel that we are properly represented in the world as women?
Well, I feel like, honestly, I feel like we're working towards it. We're not in a perfect world, so I wouldn't say that it is ideally where it should be, but I do see efforts coming towards better representation for women, and I'm happy about that.
That's true, and I do see progression as well. But to go back to the previous question, I believe that having a good role model, like in a male figure as well as like our mothers, that's really important, because I feel like for us as girls, as I mentioned before, it's like we're at a disadvantage because of our history, because of what happened in the past. So it's like having that balance, we tend to like, especially in our fathers or like uncles or whatever, it's important for us to see that they're not like an opponent and they're on our side, because oftentimes in school and in other stuff in sports, we feel belittled by the males, because like at my school, like the basketball team is a big thing, but just for the males. Like the females, we don't even have a team this year. So that's just an example of how males are progressing, but it's harder for us as women and as girls to progress in this reality. But like Tamaine said, we're not ideally where we want to be, but we have made progress from the past, so we have to appreciate that.
Yeah. Along with that, I do think it's important for us to have the balance between a feminine and masculine role in our life, because oftentimes we have households where it's only the woman being the main role model, and then we have the absence of a male, and we need that so we can have a role model to look up to. Because if I didn't have the father figures that I have in my life, I wouldn't know what the ideal men should be, and I would get into a relationship with someone who embodies the behaviors of people around me, whether that be negative or positive, and in that case I can get into abusive relationships, or I can be put in situations where I'm very vulnerable. So it is important for us to have a male role model in our life, because they do provide stability or something that we can look up to.
I mean, one would say that you guys are too young to know those statistics. And then what do you say to those people? Because we're here talking about the issues that affect you all on a daily basis. I know you have school, but you also have these social issues, getting into relationships, being able to think about what you're going to be in the next 5 years or so, maybe less, right? So let's talk about some statistics, because yes, where we see the progress in certain male-dominated areas, more women are going to school than men. More women are graduating more than men. But then do you see these women taking up spaces in high positions, in jobs? Okay, let's talk about that, because everybody's shaking their head no, right? So let's talk about that. And where do you think the problem is? What do you think the problem is? Let's get some solutions going.
So I think the problem is like basically not having the courage to go after what you really want because of what you've seen. Again, going back to the past, it's like because we see certain things as a practice, it becomes like a tradition, and people literally just grow into that. And I feel like not everybody is strong enough, but we should be strong enough to know that we don't have to fall into the same stuff and the same patterns that have been happening over time. Like I feel like that's my biggest motivation. I say I don't want to just be another woman with a regular job. Like I want to do something that I will get recognized for, but I don't feel like everybody has that mentality and shares the same mindset as I have, because it's easier to like just get a regular job than to do something impactful, because obviously you'll face challenges, you'll face people who will come against you for what you're doing and stuff like that. So I think it all goes back to like your mindset and maybe like even your upbringing, because if you're in a household where they're just pushing you to just get a job to simply pay the bills, then you'll just settle for that. But if you want to actually become somebody and like make a statement for just being a woman, like that's much better to go after. But again, not everybody sees it that way, and not everybody is strong enough to do so.
I see why you're the president. I see it now.
Can I chime in here
Yes.
once again, right? So I think the ultimate idea is empowerment, or whatever it is that you're aspiring to. But we're living in a society where, admittedly, quite a lot is male-dominated. But if you look at education as the #1 vehicle to get you to where you want to be in our society, then once you've educated yourself sufficiently, it's then your opportunity or your responsibility to yourself to aspire towards presenting or providing some of those very same opportunities to other young girls, right? That way, you create a space where young women also have the same possibilities. Now, you take that and you look at representation, as you had mentioned earlier. Is it that perhaps we don't have enough young women and women who aspire for leadership? And I'm saying leadership using the term loosely. It could be political leadership, religious leadership, community leadership, and what have you. Is it that we're educating all of these young ladies, but we're not allowing them to pursue the full extent of what they're capable of pursuing in terms of leadership? Where are we with that?
Before okay, so let's narrow this down to where I know the topic is world, like women, like international, right? But I would like to narrow it down to Belize. Have we provided a safe community for women to actually express themselves and to speak up? In many households, we have the people below the poverty line dominating, and with that, there's a lot of trauma. We have a lot of teenage pregnancy is a high thing in Belize. So we have children raising children, and many times they're rape victims, or they're doing it on their own. And so they haven't fully healed from their trauma, and they're creating, they're building a household, and that gets passed on through generations. And in those environments, we create a space where females aren't allowed to speak up on their issues, or we're pushed down a lot. I would say that. We're not allowed to express ourselves, or we're not giving the sufficient guidance to explore different things. I'm fortunate enough to grow up in a household and environment where I'm able to express myself and to learn more and have sufficient knowledge to be a part of things. But not everyone have that privilege. And we need to reflect back and think, are we providing that for many people? Are we allowing them a space where they can grow and to be leaders in this community?
Yeah, as Mr. Isani mentioned earlier, I'm sorry,
Okay.
but he mentioned about empowerment, and I feel like it really does come down to that, because as I mentioned before, it's like a constant competition between males. So like, to know that males are basically against us as females, and then we also have some females that are against other females. So I feel like it's down to empowerment, because I believe that a lot of people have the drive to like go into leadership positions and stuff like that. Like a lot of women are aspiring leaders, but then again, the few that do become successful in this field, do they look back to lend a hand? Or do they just like stay there to absorb all of it for themselves? So I feel like, again, it's all down to empowerment, and it's important for all of us young women to know that whichever field we go into, it's important for us to look back and lend a hand, because we know it wasn't hard to get there, and not everybody would be as strong as we were to get where we will be in the future. So it's important for us to look back and like help out somebody else.
Supporting each other as well, because when we talk to young girls, we talk to women, and you listen to them, it doesn't matter how high you climb, how far up the ladder you are. Oftentimes you hear that it's another woman that's working against them to try to bring them down. That's a fair...
Support and empowerment looks really good on paper, and it's a cute meme on a social media post, but are we actually applying it? And
well, that's essentially what I'm asking, because, like I said, right? Women ought to be given the same platforms, the same opportunities, everything that men enjoy, right? But if we're saying that women are our worst enemies, then even if you're given that opportunity, then you have to worry about the person next to you, as opposed to saying that they're the ones that are holding you up.
I'm going to stick a pin in that. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue that discussion. So don't forget it, and don't go away. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5 Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes. Go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Because news is now everywhere, all the time. And so are we.
We are back at the second part of our International Day of the Girl Child panel discussion. I hope you all remembered Isani's question because that is going to be asked. Right, so what do we do when we're put in positions of representation, leadership roles, and so forth? You are a woman that is trying to make a change, but oftentimes it is other women that are doing the plotting against your success or your progress. So how do we address those issues?
Well, I believe that it should come down to mindset, because success for us as a society is incremental and it's dependent on each other. So for women, or for anyone really, when you see someone in a position where you'd like to be, you ask them for mentorship and so forth. And those people who are in those higher positions, they should be willing to offer that mentorship, because they should put themselves in the mindset as, how would I feel? How would I have felt if I got assistance? How would my journey have been easier if I had assistance? So for me personally, like if I see someone in a position or trying to be in a position where I once was, I wouldn't hesitate to give them a helping hand, because I would have wanted that help to help me navigate my path better. At the end of the day, women, all of us are going down this path, we're having our journey, and if we know that there's a bump or a hill in the road, why wouldn't we tell someone that's about to approach that bump or the hill in the road and just watch them have to face it for themselves? We already were there. We should give them that guidance so they can navigate more smoothly.
And that brings me back to what I mentioned before, that we should always remember to look back and lend a hand, because we went through something or we faced a challenge, that doesn't mean everybody else should face it. And I feel like women today have that mentality, like they feel like, oh, because I gone through this, you forgot through it too. Like I feel like that we should really use that to like lessen the challenges that women face today. And then like Mr. Isani asked before, like how is it when a woman is in a high leadership role, and how do they like help out other people? So I feel, okay, I lost my train of thought, but I feel like it really comes down to like a novelty, because today I feel like people feel like it's something new for like a woman to achieve something great, and it should be a norm. So because of the mere fact that it's a novelty and it's like a big thing when a woman achieves something good, I feel like that is where the self-absorbedness comes in, because it's a novelty and not a norm. It's like a big thing for us to accomplish something, so we want to be like the only ones to accomplish it, and that's where the limitation comes in.
And I think that's also a very important point, and that's also why I want to shed light on the concept of advocacy, because I believe that it's important to bring light to these situations, especially if you are a woman leader who is in a high position. Like, for example, a woman who has the opportunity to receive a high level of education, if they advocate for education, that can also shed light on women who do not who do not have the opportunity to receive that level of education. But while it also like educates women who are in that lower level of education to be like, hey, I do deserve to go to school, I do deserve to learn, I deserve to have this opportunity to succeed. It can also serve as a reminder for women who do have that education already to be like, yes, I do go to school and I deserve to go there. So on that topic, I do believe that advocacy is very important in terms of normalizing women's rights, making it be it can be common knowledge for everyone who and it can make a positive impact on all girls.
Yeah.
Do you think that it stems from the the struggle of having to get to where you are as women? Do you think that this mentality of I don't want to see her succeed because I didn't and I struggled just as much as she did, and now here I am still struggling, and now she's in a leadership position?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, it's kind of just like that, because I said when somebody gets to reiterating what I said, so it's like a novelty for a woman to achieve anything that is far from the norm. So like if I'm not going to a regular job or whatever, but if I become a politician in Belize, that's like a big thing, because you know it's another woman, one of the few that will be in power. So it's like I'm not self-absorbed, so I wouldn't just
Okay, but then let me ask you this, and let me ask all of you this: how many women presidents do you know? And I asked that because like you rightfully said, it's a novelty, and so it's really not a norm.
Yeah.
So how do you make it a norm when a woman does something that's an accomplishment?
I feel like lending a hand and literally motivating another woman to come and fill your position when you move from that position or get something similar to your position. I feel like that's how we would evolve as women. Because for me personally, like maybe some people think I'm biased, but I'm the student council president of SJCJC, and I will be supporting and endorsing another woman to replace me.
Right, but that's you.
Yeah.
One of how many? Right.
Yeah.
But like to add on to that, we're constantly fighting to be heard. So let's say I'm in a high position and I've fought my way to get there, and then I see another female come along. And then she has great potential. I feel insecure because I don't want someone to come in and take my spot on all my hard work. So oftentimes I would try to oppress her because I want to stay where I am because I fought so hard to get there. A good example would be like a real life scenario. In BHS, I, along with some other females, we decided to start a whole cheerleading thing, right? We saw how our teams were not doing too bad. We want to support our team, show our Ram pride and all of that, right? So we're like, let's start something. We managed to get there. While we're there, obviously it's our first time starting something new where we face some challenges and stuff, and but we're working on that. But then we hear a lot, especially on social media, there's a lot of bullying when it comes to that. We hear people saying, oh, BHS have Simon pom-poms and stuff. There's a lot of things, like they don't acknowledge. They don't acknowledge the work that we've put in to get to where we are. Even like we're freshly starting. We've had some mentors. We've had great support from some of our teachers who have like really tried to like take time out of their busy schedule to try to help us. But then we have a lot of students from other schools who recognizes our growth. But then they don't want that because for the longest time they've been on top, and then they see us as a threat. So they would try to like bring us down and to try to like keep us down there. But then what helps is to have discussion within our own community, because obviously some girls might feel a type of way. They might feel like, oh, you know what, I don't want to be a part of this because I feel shame. I don't want to be a part of this this group that's oppressed. So they might want to come out. But what's important is for us to have discussions, which we've had meetings where we wanted to know where most of us stand, where to see like the level of, do we want to continue this, or like we try to uplift each other. We're not going to like allow ourselves to be pushed aside because of the negative comments that we've received. So we've built ourselves up.
I'll say this and then I'll throw it to Raiden, right? Because we need to get everybody else involved in the conversation.
Yes.
I understand.
Taking from what you're saying, Amari, for me, looking at it, it speaks to your collective ability to not listen to the outside noise. Because at the end of the day, you will have detractors, you will have bullies, you will have people who exist to tear down your best effort.
I agree.
But if you're focused on something, you're laser focused on something, getting it done. So in this case, the example is your cheerleading team. you have to start somewhere. You may not start off with the best pom-poms and all the other stuff, but you've made a start. If your end goal is to one day be as competitive as the most, popular one or the most, well-regarded one, then you need to make a start somewhere, and then you have to block out all the haters and the white noise that exists, right?
I agree.
So let's piggyback on that, then.
Okay, for me personally, like what she said about their cheerleading team, I believe that in this world, people will always have something bad to say about anything that you do. It does not matter.
Especially with social media.
Yes, that is yeah. So I believe that once you have your mind on what you want to do, you shouldn't let anyone stop you. You, like with their cheerleading team, all of them are interested in doing their cheerleading squad. I don't think that, even though, like I said, people always have something to say, they have their mindset on that, and they shouldn't let what other people say about them, like, interfere with what they want to do,
Yeah, but that's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Sure.
I think a big thing about it is that it's hard to tune it out, but like you said, it's something that you have to accept, and when you get into certain positions, even though it's kind of sad to think about, it's something you have to prepare yourself for. For example, I remember the uniform parade. I was marching with the robotics team, and I was proud of it. I worked really hard to get there, and the amount of work that we put into it. But as we're marching, we're hearing a lot of things. We're hearing people calling us nerds and stuff like that, and it's sad, but I still managed to keep my head high as I marched, because while there are people who are on the outside judging you, they don't know the work that you put in. They don't know how long your cheerleading team has practiced. They don't know how much work you put into that. And I think that that's just something that could give you comfort in that moment, that even though these people are looking at you and they're judging you, they don't know what you've gone through. So it's like, why should they have the power to put you down when they don't know exactly what you did to get to the position where you are?
Do you? Yeah.
I also wanted to piggyback on what she was saying, is that you just learn how to have the pride in what you're achieving, because no one knows the hard work that you put into it. No one knows the dedication, the amount that you had to think about this, and you had to literally focus on creating a whole new thing for the school, and it's never been introduced to the school. So you created something, so the generations of women that will enter the school will follow it and will be known as Omari Medina created this thing. It's true. Omari, you created a generation of VHS students that will follow this new tradition that we are going to include in our games, in our parade.
Yeah.
So good job for that.
I think that, yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm picking. So while there will be outside influences that are there to try to put you down, it's also important to note that you can have support systems. So like, for example, in Omari's case, she has the POMs, and within that they have a support system. They support each other. So regardless of what people outside say, they still have, they still confide within one another. So, and with Cameron, even though she's, there's people putting her down for being a part of the robotics team, she still has that support system within the robotics team.
Do you think that as we're about to wrap up our discussion this morning, you said that they don't know what you've gone through, the hard work, the effort, and so forth. Maybe that's the problem. There is not a lot of discussion on that. There is not a lot of discussion on social media. It's so easy to have more negative comments than there are positive. Sometimes the positive comments get overlooked. So maybe, do you think that we're not doing enough positive upliftment in society, in the media? We're not doing that enough for each other, that people think that, that people think that we're not working hard enough, or people think that it's the first time we're hearing a woman doing this. We're not putting that out there in social media enough.
Yeah, I think that we do it enough, like what she said when she was speaking, and you said that's what she thinks, but you don't know what other people think. I think it takes a community and an amount of people to actually bring awareness to it, you know, because maybe we want to see someone at the top, maybe a woman at the top, but other people say, oh, she's not fit for that role and stuff like that, you know, they underestimate them.
But then along with that, we also have to build stability and security within ourselves, and to have the support of the community around us, not only our parents, but also our teachers, having them like allow us to voice our opinions in a respectful manner. That's important.
Yeah, and I think self-stability is really important because like it all comes down to perspective and your mindset, because as Omari said, maybe they probably felt that way when they heard that they have Simon Kwan Pom Pom. But I would use that to say
There's nothing wrong with that. Let's be clear.
No. There's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like I grew up hearing from my family and like, you know, my grandma, my mom, that, you know, if people at the top, we're going to do something good. So from the time they're talking about you, that's because they see you guys as a threat, as you mentioned. And I just feel like it's important for you to just stick to the positive and remember the positive, and you're literally going to be a part of history. Like, you're creating history right now. 10 years from now, you can say that you are a part of the first cheerleading squad of BHS, so that's a good thing.
I always say turn a negative situation into something positive. Simon Kwan might market your pom-poms next time. Nerd Squad, big fan t-shirt, love it. You know, you take those comments and you run with it and you make something beautiful from it, right? So International Day of the Girl Child is today. So congratulations to all of you for being wonderful progressive women in society. And I hope that you all come back to continue talking about your cheerleading squad, your next female president, your robotics national team that's going to championships, because I know how to do that. You know, like we have to uplift the good things, right? And that's how we continue to make positive strides in society. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us this morning, and we hope to see you again very, very soon. We are wrapping up our show, but we got to take the break, Isani, and when we come back, it's straight to wrap. Stay with us.